Being involved with the accordion can be described as a very interesting adventure, an adventure that is still unfolding. Starting from when the accordion was first introduced into America and followed by whatever part I took in its development. I didn't know that I was going to reach this far, and I have to add that I have been very fortunate with my health, that I can enjoy my 90th birthday in reasonably good health. I never did think too much in regards to what I meant in the accordion field. I was too busy thinking of what has to be done. And yet, as that birthday approached this last January, I really began to think about it. All the way back, since 1911. And almost all of the 20th century is gone. And that's what they mean by pioneers, I guess, those who have gone on and on for years. I was born in Manchester, Connecticut on January 18, 1904. I will always remember the inspiration that was given to me by my oldest sister, Clotilde, who was a genius on the violin. When I was an infant, I often heard her play Kreutzer's C major etude, which became like my lullaby. During the early part of my musical career, I played many instruments, woodwind and brass, for the sake of variety. The accordion was still in its infancy. I only had 6 months of public school grade 1, and I don't even have a certificate stating that I graduated from public school. My father was my first and only teacher on instruments. When I was 7 years old, my mother put me on a train in San Francisco, and she sent me off to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I joined my father and 2 older sisters in Vaudeville. At first, they brought me on as an encore, and I played the cornet, playing Casey Jones. Later on, though, they brought me on playing the accordion with them. Vaudeville was the catalyst for introducing the accordion throughout the entire North American continent, from the east to the west coast. Therefore, it gained the attention of the general public almost instantaneously. Eventually, the accordion entered into radio, the nightclubs, entertainment, television, and into the concert field to some extent. I stayed in vaudeville until 1932, which was a total of 21 years, in which the last 8 years, of course, I was on my own. My father had to retire. The RKO circuit was the big time in those days, and it was taken over by the Radio Corporation of America, RCA. Those in vaudeville were then required to broadcast at least once a week in each town wherein they appeared. And I can safely say then that with my accordion, I then played on more radio stations throughout the entire country than any other accordionist. The end of vaudeville only hastened my decision to retire from it. After I left vaudeville, I didn't miss it at all. I opened up my accordion studio in San Francisco in 1932, and I concentrated on the accordion, having disposed of all my other instruments. I knew that since the accordion was my favorite instrument, the instrument that I fell in love with, needed all of my attention. And in turn, I feel that I needed the accordion also. The instrument intrigued me because in comparison to other instruments, I can play certain things in music that could not be played fully on the other instruments. And 4 screws in here. In 1924, I opened up the left-hand mechanism of my accordion, and with a file I broke off the pin that would cause the 5th to respond for the dominant 7th chord button. I had learned through theory of traditional harmony that the 5th can be disposed of, and yet the chord identity is still evident. D, F, A flat, B flat, so it's F. The 5th, you break off the 2nd pin then. And it rotates that way and all the way through pretty much until you've covered all the 20 buttons. Always being sure that you break off the pin that causes the 5th to respond. Otherwise you're in trouble. This gave the opportunity for the raised 5th or even the lowered 5th to be played, say, on the right hand, and there would be no dissonant clash. And that soon became a standard. In 1912, when I was given my first piano keyboard accordion with Stradella system, there was only one register for the right-hand keyboard and one register for the left hand. One of the most important developments of the accordion occurred around the 30s, when the manufacturers included multiple registers for both keyboards on the accordion. And when I received my very first model, it was new to me, and I learned shortly after that a number of the registers did not serve any musical purpose, and then too, the registers all in all were not in the proper musical order. And I gave thought to both of those angles towards making an improvement, which the manufacturer complied with. Another detail would be that I established the circle with the dots enclosed as symbols for the multiple register accordions. Then too, I established the vocal terms for the left-hand set of 5 reeds, 5 sets of reeds. As for instance, this is the bass set of reeds. Tenor, it's the same. And then alto. And soprano. And having those multiple registers actually convinced me then that the accordion is really a very orchestral instrument. I felt that I had arrived at a point where I would be capable of composing a concerto, and I did so in 1941. After about 9 months, I completed the accordion concerto in G minor in 3 movements. I gave it its premiere performance as a soloist with the Oklahoma City Orchestra in 1941. And eventually I played it with the Denver Symphony and with the Detroit Symphony twice. In the piano concerto, the composer always considers the left hand equal with the right hand. But of course, the pianist plays only on one keyboard. You play on 2 keyboards. On the accordion, we have 3 items to deal with. The right-hand keyboard, the left-hand keyboard, which is completely different, plus the manipulation of the bellows. Due to the nature of the left-hand keyboard, the more knowledge of theory, especially traditional harmony, the accordionist has at his command, the more he can do justice to the left hand. I believe that in my concerto I also exploited and brought out the capabilities of the left hand. The buttons themselves as to their musical meaning, as well as using the multiple registers in order to make the left hand comparable to to the right hand, musically speaking. That is something that I have devoted a special attention to in all of my musical career. And that's been one of my, how should I say, goals towards what I do on the accordion. In 1942, my family and I moved from New York City back to Los Angeles, wherein I then became a member of the Los Angeles Musicians Union. And this meant that I could then engage in soundtrack recordings for the Hollywood film industry. And of the many pictures that I recorded in, I think the most important ones were The Razor's Edge, High Noon, and Laura. I believe I recorded in about 19 pictures at least. During this period, I became a member of a rumba band at the Trocadero nightclub in Hollywood. And my reason was that I wanted to become acquainted with music of Latin rhythms. Being part of the band, I was paid $60 a week. It did give me the opportunity then to look around and see which celebrities were on the dance floor. And it might have been Xavier Cugat, or Mickey Rooney, or Walter Houston, or even Errol Flynn, who usually was so inebriated that he couldn't even stand up. In 1945, I decided to plan on preparing a formal solo concert at the Philharmonic Auditorium in Los Angeles. Puccini. Insofar as music available, say, published for the accordion, at first when I started, there was practically none at all to speak of. So we had to prepare and arrange our own music in the matter of performing it and so forth. But eventually, of course, accordion music began to grow, coming in of many, many publishers. My inclinations, where I seem to fit in more, is towards transcribing the works of any good composer. It could be even, you know, something in popular music, but it's got to be something worthwhile too. It's not a point where in doing it I'm going to make a lot of money, but if I have free time, I will sit down and just transcribe something just the same. But pure self-satisfaction over choosing something that I like. I will always do that. As long as I can write, you know, with a pencil and on the board there, I will continue doing it. But it keeps me on the go, though. Keeps me on the go. in addition to what I do as a musician, I think an overriding ambition would have been to become a symphony conductor. Yeah, now, attack, drop immediately. Hey, wait a minute. 3, 4 times, there are only 3 counts to a measure. One, beep, 2 and 3. Oh. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 la dee da 1. Slur nicely, slur. Don't accent. 1, 2, 3, play. Fine, we got a good start on it anyhow. Lunchtime. I am really very happy with what I have done throughout all of these years. Although I would have wanted to have accomplished more, but things came very difficult to me because, as I say, I had to search for the knowledge, and I learned just by trial and error as I went along. I think that I learned mostly by listening to other great musicians. Obviously, I favor the classics, and that's the kind of music that I would like to play on the accordion, and I've been always influenced in that manner in whatever I do play on the instrument. I think that I was enthused in my thoughts in thinking that I could play this or that classic on the accordion. And what I would do then, if I had a few cents in my pocket, which my father gave me sometimes like just only for food, and another extra quarter, I would buy music. And I would learn that piece from the music. I would be my own instructor. During my years with my father and 2 sisters, none of us children were given any allowances at all, and just enough for food. There came a time when I think I was nearly 19 years old when, after coming home from a long trip in Vaudeville, my mother said to my father, why don't you give Anthony something as compensation for all that he had done with you. And my father then gave me $50. And my mother said, well, Anthony, you can go out and buy yourself a new suit. However, what I did do is go to the nearest music store, and I bought $50 worth of Victor Red Seal records, consisting of all of the great artists like Chrysler, Rachmaninoff, and Paderewski, or Stokowski with the Philadelphia Symphony Orchestra, Arturo Toscanini, and so forth. And when I came home with that $50 worth of records, my mother and father were both surprised. That was pretty much my education, listening to music and reading music. Whenever I had a chance to hear serious music, it had an impression on me. And from those impressions, I try to make it my guide to see what I can bring out on the accordion, that kind of music. So I saw all of these possibilities in the accordion. I learned to play many, many classics on my own, even to playing those things which were pretty much beyond my technical capacity. The capability in the instrument is there, but it is up to us to know what the capabilities are and bring it out. Of course, as we develop our ability to perform on the instrument, we must continue to expand our knowledge of music, which is really endless. And that's the beautiful part about it too. I believe that if I'm continuing now with the same amount of motivation, at least, as ever, as in the past, it is just because there is always more to learn. And the more I learn about music, I try to apply it to the accordion. At this point in my life now, it is only natural that I begin to think of what I may do as the years go by. I will always be involved with the accordion as long as I can breathe. On the other hand now, as far as what I do, I would lean more towards my capacity as an educator of and for the instrument. All right. Remember, I got an apple. I put it right there. Sure. Well, so. I will always want to play the accordion, but obviously that will not be as easy for me now as in the past. I can help, at least in my way, to bring out whatever knowledge I have pertaining to the accordion, so that they can benefit by whatever thoughts I have, whatever advice I give, in regards especially to the instrument, the accordion. In recent years, I have been becoming more and more active in conducting workshops for those interested in the accordion. The full significance of partials was first thoroughly explained by Helmholtz, who was alive in 1821 to 1894. We turn the page now. 7 triads can be found or formed under the degrees of the major scale. Judging from the results of those who have attended and have been pleased with what I present, gives me that much more motivation to continue on, which I will try to do. This is all in the educational field, and that's where I belong by this time. We're talking about the bass button alone. Now let's try the chord button alone. I'm going to play C major chord button.
Years old, people. Isn't that incredible?
As far as motivation was concerned, I had plenty of it, always. And I still have that motivation today. Therefore, I am convinced that the good Lord above gave me the destiny to pursue music as my profession and to pursue music through the accordion. And so for that, with all of its blessings, I thank the Lord. Well, now that's a question, it's a very good question because I've never thought of that. I mean, I don't know whether I would have done anything differently or not. I think that everything I had to do, Jeff, was of necessity. I mean, that's the way it had to be, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The circumstances. That it was my destiny. That's all, you know.
Yeah.
to be put into music at an early age, travel around, given the accordion to play, and that's it. And so what has been denied me? Well, that's it. I mean, not everyone has the same life. So, but what I mean when I say that I'm happy that the accordion was given to me as the instrument. I'm happy. I mean, I never lose interest in the instrument. No matter what, I lose interest in other people maybe, or get disappointed in them. But I'm never disappointed in the accordion.
Instead of following through.
Yeah, just follow through all,
Okay.
it's all from one
Let's
to
do that
the
then.
other.
Okay, I'll do that on this last take and make sure I do it right then. Well, shall we go watch it, Anthony?
Yeah, let's watch this.
I'd be glad to.
All right.
I'll keep my fingers crossed.
Yes, I know. You help with that?
Would you take the accordion, please?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, all right, if you
Such a
please.
great job. That was beautiful.
Well, I did my best.
Yeah. That might work.
Isn't that true? Baritones. Jeff, don't pick up the wrong notes, just pick up the right.